Hello, everybody. It's Andrew from 510 Books. It is Saturday, February 15th, 2025. This is another bunch of DVDs that I am going to be going through starting on Monday. Today was the busiest day of the week in the store. The most sales, most gross sales, that kind of thing. Again, this week was the first time that I opened my retail store, my physical media retail store, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's been open on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for probably like 3 years, maybe more. So this is the first time I've done that, and it's a total of an extra 12 hours a week. And looking at the sales, it was pretty good for the first week. Now, last week when I was only open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I did a little bit more. But this week there was rain. It rained really hard on Thursday, and then it was still sprinkling on Friday, and everything was still wet. So a lot of people were not going out. So taking that into consideration, I'm pretty certain I would have done better, if not right around what I did last week. So that's all good news. I think that there's no rain next week as of now, so we will see. Although we're entering the rainy season, but I believe that the store will do better without rain for sure. So next week will be an actual rainless week to see how it goes. But it was good this week, considering that it rained and it was the first time I was open on those days. Although Monday was the busiest of the 3 days. Tuesday and Wednesday were slower, and Thursday and Friday were slow because of the rain. But today was good. I had somebody work for 3 hours in the store, and it went well. So that's good. That's a good sign. It'll be interesting to see going forward over the many months to see how it actually ends up being opened this additional days and hours. I think that logically, being open more hours and more days just means that more people will find me because I will be open on those times and days that I'm not normally open. So somebody driving by, somebody looking for my store will find me, and I'll have a new customer. And it all just depends, over time, you find the right people. It's kind of what it is, right? You find the right people, the right customers who are going to become repeat customers, and they either join my newsletter, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, and then they start coming back. So that's the idea, right? It's the same thing on eBay as an example. You can build your customer base on there and have repeat customers, and that's a really good thing. That's what all businesses base or build upon. So I feel like that's going to be the ultimate outcome. It's just going to take time, and I kind of have to, train my customers and future customers of my new schedule. It's definitely going to take time, but I think even within 3 months, maybe 6 months, definitely by the summer, it should be going pretty well. And I will see though how well it's going, because I've done the calculations. If I hire somebody. So if I stay open, the idea is to stay open from 10 a.m. until 5, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, 11 to 5. I've already done 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning on Saturdays. And I've realized that even if I open at 10 in the morning on Saturdays, people tend to not show up that early. I was at 8 a.m. for a long time, and there was hardly anybody there in the first couple of hours. It just didn't make sense. So I changed it a little while ago to 11, and that's worked out better. But Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. And if I do that, when I do that, that means I will be adding an additional 9 hours, I believe is what it is. It's technically 9.5 hours. So by adding those additional 9.5 hours to be open Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 10 to 5, to pay somebody, to find somebody, of course, and train them, that's a whole nother situation. But to pay them those basically 10 hours, it's roughly at the minimum wage that it is right now here in California, it's going to be roughly, including, see, that's the thing is I'm doing payroll, so I have to pay, extra pay taxes and whatnot. And so it ends up being roughly around, less than $1,000, but around like $800. So they're working basically 9.5, 10 hours a week. So that's an additional like 40 hours, roughly a little less than 40 hours over 4 weeks. And over that month, it's basically like $400 every 2 weeks, right? Which is when payroll is. So I have to every 2 weeks be bringing in an additional, what do you call it? That additional money at least to pay for the employee. So that breaks down to roughly $200 a week. So just being open, working the extra 12 hours a week, if I can make that money, and then, or make enough to pay for the employee, then it ends up becoming potentially a viable option to hire somebody, right? So that's the plan. You got to think about that, because I'm not willing to give up the time that I have to pick up my kids from school, go home with them, spend time with them, help them with homework, all that kind of stuff, take them to, various soccer practices and whatnot. I'm not willing to give that up. It's just, I'm not going to do that. So I would have to pay somebody, and that's what you have to think about, right? I've always wanted the store to be open more hours, because I think people would come, and people have different schedules, and it would just attract more people. But then it gets complicated, right? I have to find somebody who I gotta, trust, who will show up on time. That'll take time. But also have to be making enough money. So I've already made the mistake in the past of hiring people too soon, when the store wasn't making enough money consistently, being open weekly, and it just didn't work out. I had to let them go. So I've learned that lesson, and there needs to be enough consistent. I need to see like multiple months of a certain amount coming in each week to justify paying somebody, $200 a month. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if I'm not, I'm not making up for it with the new hours on my own, it doesn't make sense. But also at the same time, as a business owner, you have to say, well, you have to take that leap, and it's cleaner and makes more sense to be open more hours, Monday through Friday. We're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. Super easy, logical, instead of having different hours and different days. I was able to build a profitable business and get lots of inventory by just being open 3 days a week. But I want it to be more, I want to double, triple the sales that I'm having every week in the store. Continuing to find good inventory, new customers, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes you take that leap of faith, right? Like I'm gonna see how long it takes to make what I feel is enough weekly to justify giving $200 to somebody for those additional 9.5 hours, which then, ideally being open on Monday and Tuesday from 2:30 to 5, and then on Wednesday from 12:30 to 5, will bring in more money, more customers, right? So you have to take that leap of faith, right? And say, well, I'm going to pay this person, 200 roughly bucks a week. And hopefully being those hours being open, that people will come in, and those hours alone will not immediately, but over time pay for that employee, right? But before I get that employee, I have got to make enough money to justify that expense to stay open those additional 9.5 hours, which is not insignificant, right? So these are the things you have to think about when you own any type of business, but you need to keep those things in the front of your mind. So that's where I'm headed with it. We'll see. Keep following me on this journey. Here's a bunch of DVDs to go through. Look, I found a Wii, but too bad it's a Wii Sports. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.